Hello Animorphs fans, today we're going to talk about number 9, The Secret. This is Cassie's second book. And I enjoyed it, I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised by this book because by the time this one had rolled about, 8 books and a Megamorphs in, I was convinced that Cassie had very minimal character development and I was dreading to think that this one would continue that trend. I was wrong. So, let's get into this book. The Secret. It starts off with yet another frustrating scene. It's become a bit of a theme for these Animorphs books that the first few chapters tend to be very frustrating for me. This one's no different. What's happening is Cassie has a science project and she's got a rat maze. And she wants this rat to run through the maze and she's wondering, why is this not happening? The big question I have initially is a very simple one. Why would you get marked down for the actions of an animal in a scientific experiment? Surely the point of the scientific experiment is to see what happens. And if the rat does nothing, then that in itself is a result. So, Cassie, your fears are unfounded. Believe me, I've done scientific experiments. I am a master's degree holder in science. I've done experiments where nothing has happened. And you know what? That's a result. And a result that you can talk about, find solutions for, and get your desired mark. So that's the first problem out the way with. Cassie, learn science. Second point. How many times have the Animorphs gone out of their way to do something completely unnecessary and very dangerous? This is another one of those times. And once again, it's Rachel and Cassie. Funny how Cassie and Rachel are always getting roped into these dangerous missions. It points out two things. Rachel is still impulsive and a little bit dangerous and risky, and Cassie is too easily swayed. This combination is a very dangerous one. It reminds me of Cartman and Butters from South Park. It's going to cause absolute mayhem. And that's what happens. They morph these rats and then, conveniently enough, it's not even convenience, it's just, you know, school has just finished. You're going to get students still running around doing things. And these students come in and start attacking these rats because these are apparently complete delinquents who have no... I don't know if it's supposed to play into the theme of Book 9, which is sometimes you just have to accept nature for what it is, predator and prey and whatever. And sometimes human male teenagers are just going to destroy things because it's in their nature. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. It's not really that important. What is important is that Rachel and Cassie are just completely stupid. That is the lesson to take from the first few chapters here. It's just another case. I don't really need to go into detail again. It's just another case where they're just disregarding Jake's orders for no serious reason. You know, choose your battles. This isn't a battle you need to choose. For one thing, your premise of I'm going to fail, whatever. That's that. The Animorphs then find out what the mission is going to be for this book. There is a logging company in the forest nearby, or the woodlands, and they're thinking about cutting down trees. So they've got this big log cabin. I think it's Tobias who spots it, and he comes and tells them this is happening. They're all carrying around assault weapons, or what they think are assault weapons. Therefore, this seems a bit weird, so they go to investigate. Now, Jake does a smart thing. He knows that Rachel and Cassie have done this stupid thing at the start, and he comes to the leadly decision to not let those two go together because he knows that they will just cause bother. Well done, Jake. You spotted that mistake. However, you still did not confront them over this action. How many times now are you not going to confront people over disobeying your orders and putting everybody at risk for stupid things? Jake, grow a pair. We sort of did that in the last one with Axe, but he was an outsider. You need to learn to confront the people that are close to you. It may be hard, and it is hard, but Jake, you rely on these people. It doesn't matter how much you like him. I know you've got a thing for Cassie, which for some reason I keep forgetting to cover in these videos. I will do at some point. You need to learn to put them in their place. You need to do that. And once again, you've refused to do it. But Jake redeems himself in some ways later on in this book, so let's just crack on. They find out about this logging company and they go to investigate. Apparently there's a force field. There are strange animal smells that we can assume, and I think they assume, are hawk-bajeer. Even though they've probably smelt hawk-bajeer before, because they've been in wolf morph before in these areas, and they should know by now how the hawk-bajeer smell. Maybe they don't, I don't know. They're in this area and they notice all this stuff, these people carrying weapons, and then they get ambushed, essentially. Because, as we know, this is all a plan to bring out the Animorphs, or find them, or what the Yeerks would consider the Andalite bandits, or at least Visser 3 considers them the Andalite bandits. We've already got ideas that underlings of the Yeerk Empire are thinking these are probably humans, but nobody wants to tell Visser 3 this, and that's understandable. Another reason why Visser 3 is a shit leader. So they get caught in this net, and they're being shot at by stormtroopers. I call them stormtroopers because they're fucking firing off in every which direction apart from their target. And they just about manage to get away because Axe comes, slices the net, and they get away. Fair enough. They now know that this is a shady operation, definitely controlled by the Yeerks. They start to devise a plan. I say they start to devise a plan. They plan to devise a plan because they don't come up with a plan until the moment they're stood in front of what they're going to do, which, again, Jake, you should really brief people beforehand. But whatever. They decide to morph termite, which they're all very nervous about, and understandably so, because we've had the problems with the ant morphs before. They find that there are termites in these logs. They manage to get a termite. They all acquire the DNA of the termite, and they decide, right, this is how we're going to do it. They go to the place at the dead of night. They go outside of the area, and they decide, right, we need to have a distraction in order that we can go near the facility and morph. Now, this just points out the Yeerk stupidity, because the Yeerks, if they know that the whole reason that they're there is to get the Andalites, then they should know that the Andalites might try trickery. So if there's one Andalite bandit running off in that direction, the Yeerks should surely think, right, keep people posted. We know there's Andalite activity. You keep on guard on everything. Apparently they don't know that. Apparently they just don't know that. And the Animorphs don't know that they don't know that. But they also don't know that they should know that. Whatever. Again, kids' book. I don't think Michael or Catherine were military tacticians. So, whatever. I've said whatever a lot of times so far in this one. It's a whatever book. It's a mixed bag book. There are some whatever points. This is where Jake's bad leadership really comes into play in this book. He knows that he can't send Axe off because he'll need Axe for inside. So he draws straws. Obviously, he didn't come up with this plan before they got there. As I've mentioned, you should probably be doing this sort of stuff back in the barn in your planning briefing. But no, he does it right in front of there. And he draws straws, and he includes himself in this. And he draws the short straw, so he goes to be the distraction. Big mistake. As a leader, you want to keep oversight of all that's going on. And if you're removing yourself from your group, you cannot do that. We were told in training that we have to keep an overview of what's going on. And I remember one of the people in my little squadron were on somebody else's exercise. Somebody was chosen to be the leader, and they sent everyone off. And he got marked down. He failed. Why? Because he couldn't see his team. He couldn't see his team, so the people doing the test said, you lost control of that team. If something happened, you wouldn't have known what was going on. And he failed because of it. It's basic leadership. You want to keep tabs on what is going on with your team at all times during a mission. And Jake removed himself from that. Huge mistake. Serious leadership points off there. They go in. And suddenly, they're taken over by the hive mind. And they go in and they start to lose it. They start to realise, hold on, we're being taken over by the queen of this termite hive, this termite colony, what's a better word for it. And they go into the queen's lair bit, and Cassie, in a moment of clarity, tells herself that it's an ant, it's an invader, and kills the termite queen, freeing them of the termite queen's spell. And it was a good chapter, a really well-written chapter, and they come out of that, and Cassie is distraught. There are a lot of reasons for this, and I will be covering the underlying message of this book at the end of just going through the plot. So don't think I'm just going to skip over that. I will get to that. Axe somehow manages to make it so that Marco's computer can hack into what is called the Dabson logging company thing. And they're able to escape because the Yeerks are incompetent. And that's that bit. By the way, we're told that Dabson is a Yeerkish word and that it's not very polite. So whatever your guess is for what Dabson means, please tell me in the comments below. A big question I have here. The Animorphs know that they need to find out where they got the planning permission from and what have you, because that Cassie's thought was, if we can't get in, we need to find out another way to bring this operation down. And this is what should be a legal operation in which they gain planning permission. Fair enough, that's logical. The logic disappears then when they decide that the only way to find out if this place got planning permission was to go into the building. No, that local councils, and I don't know how it quite works in American towns, but you go into like council buildings and there should be documents on how this thing got permission, or if it got permission at all. Christ, morph one of these people that goes into a council building like a local politician and go through the documents, ask people, talk to the police, talk to the legislators. And I know Cassie doesn't like morphing human, but she's always the one to suggest it. So I was waiting for her to say, I don't like this idea, but let's do it. I was half waiting for it. And to be fair, it would have been the more sensible decision. Go find, through the legislator, where this planning permission came from. You don't have to go into this building. Surely not. But they're kids, so they probably don't understand much about legislature and councils and all that sort of stuff. So, again, whatever. Let's crack on. They find out that there is a panel of 3 people to make the decisions on whether this logging company goes forward. One of them has said no. One of them has said yes, who they assume to be a controller. And the third one is due to visit and make his decision there. Why didn't the Yeerks just infest this guy? Why do they need to take him to the logging company in order to do it? Just Yeerk him and he'll turn around and say, okay, I don't even need to see it, I'll just say yes. Why? Why are these Yeerks so bloody incompetent? What? Make me Visser 3. I will fucking sort this invasion out and I will get it done. I will get out I will eliminate the Andalite bandits. I shall enslave humanity within the year. I will do it for you, Yeerks. Actually, no, I won't, because I'm not a dick. But if I were in charge of it, I think I'll be a lot more. I think find your average Twitter nut job and put them in charge. I think even they would do a better job than Visser 3. Really, it is awful. Why do you need to bring him to the log? Just get the other guy to go into the office, whack him over the head, put a Yeerk in his ear and say, right, now you're a Yeerk, now you'll do as you're told. Why not? What's stopping them? Why do they have to go for all this convoluted bollocks? What a bunch of amounts! Jesus! It's a stupid idea to begin with anyway. Logging? You think the Andalite bandits are so stupid that their area is going to get their trees cut down and they're just going to sit here thinking, well, there's nowhere else we can go. Christ, in the other books that we've had, there have been mountains, huge forested bloody landscapes. So, do they really think that the Yeerks are going to have permission to wipe out the entire... The landscape of trees gone? Nobody's going to get planning permission for that. Nobody. And the Andalites, if they... I mean, I've said that the Andalites are probably more incompetent than the Yeerks, so maybe. But they're just going to stand there, see their trees being cut down, and think, well, that's us done. No, they're going to fuck off. They're going to go somewhere else. Do the Yeerks think that the Andalites are that incompetent? Maybe. I don't know. It's a stupid plan. And the Andalites should have seen that and thought, why are we bothering? Just move Axe somewhere else. There's mountains. There's miles and miles of places you can go. Just go a bit further away. And if they come close, just go a bit further away again. All while these bits have been going on, Cassie finds out that a skunk mother has been burnt by Dracon beams. Obviously, it had gotten too near to the log cabin and been burnt. And she finds out that her father, I don't know how he knows, but veterinarian, so understandable. He knows that this skunk mother has recently given birth, and there are probably skunk kits out there in the wild. So Cassie is understandably upset by this. Cassie wants to help these skunk babies, and she devises a plan to do it. She finds out where they are, and then she finds out that Tobias has nabbed one of them and had it for his lunch. And she goes through a moment of just being angry and bitter at this. And she asks Tobias to help her take care of them, to which he sort of agrees. He says, all right, yeah, I'll play along with this, whatever. She goes and takes care of these skunk babies in the skunk nest, or the skunk's den. And Tobias, once again, is the ultimate snitch. Do you remember in was it Megamorphs or the last book? He's got a torn bit of shirt. It was the last book. Torn bit of shirt on his talons. So he inadvertently snitches on Axe. Now he snitches on Cassie. Now, it was for a good reason, but never trust Tobias. Hashtag Tobias is untrustworthy. Do not tell your secrets to Tobias, because the whole fucking world is going to hear. And Jake comes along, and he gives Cassie a well-earned bollocking. And once again, Jake starts to show that he has some balls. He says, Cassie, we love you, but this is stupid. And he's starting to say what I say, which is pick your battles. Thank you, Jake. For all your earlier mistakes in this book, you do have some good moments here where you lay down the law and you say, this is not a battle worth fighting for. And you should know that. And this is, I don't think he really gave a warning, but he basically just said, you're being stupid. You're putting us all at risk. You shouldn't be doing this. He also gave the arm over the shoulder treatment, which again is good. He is working out how to both be firm and fair, which I like about Jake. Sign of a good leader, you know. A good leader isn't someone who's just giving everyone bollockings all the time. You've also got to be empathetic. You've got to you can't be their friend, but you've got to be a guiding light, as it were. The Animorphs then decide that they're going to take it in turns to look after these skunks. I'll talk about the subtle messages at the end. And Cassie's looking after the skunks, and then Homer comes along and gets a walloping great spray in the face from the skunk smell. And I thought to myself, why is Homer there? Why? Jake knows that she's out there being a skunk and she's got a litter that she's looking after. Why is Jake allowing his dog to come along with them? And worse yet, he comes with news saying, we're starting this mission in an hour. Are you trying to tell me, Jake, that you brought your dog along to a mission? What are you doing, mate? For all the good work and giving Cassie a bollocking, you go and fucking throw it out the window with this bloody travesty of a decision. Why are you bringing your dog with you? Sod off, Jake. Really. You've grown some balls, but you're yet to grow a brain. The Animorphs are rushed into a decision to do something about, what's his name? Farrand? to stop him from voting yes on this decision. We've already gone into the stupidity of the Yeerks plan and whatever, so we don't need to go over that again. But Cassie and Tobias are teamed up and they fly off to find Farron. He drives up, and it becomes obvious that he's not a controller because he goes mad when he sees all this digging, all this tree cutting taking place. And I ask myself, why did the Yeerks do that? Why did they decide to start? They've just made it harder for themselves. Again, why are the Yeerks making it so hard for themselves? I don't fucking know. But Vista 3 comes out because Vista 3 is always there. I think that was that a joke that the Animorphs podcast did? That it was Vista 3 is always there. But he is always there. And he gives him a wallop. And the Yeerks take down Farron. And they put him in a box. But they also take Cassie down while she's in her osprey morph. And then they put her and Farron in this box. Which, again, why? Why have you put them in the same box where you know that she can take him hostage? Vista 3. We're going to have a serious chat. I'll probably do it in a later video where I'll just compile all your stupidity into one video. But I'm probably going to remember this. Why would you do something so flippantly stupid? Why? Complete bozo. So Cassie essentially takes Farron hostage because the Yeerks let her. And she morphs skunk. Vista 3 opens the door, starts laughing, and then gets skunk sprayed. And apparently this is the Yeerks' greatest weakness because they completely fall apart. They just completely fall apart. They basically surrender because of a smell. Worst military ever. The Yeerks. If that's what defeats you, if that's what takes down your glorious scheme for Earth domination, if that's what stops you dead in your tracks, just give up. Just go home. Are you really that daft? What a bunch of prannies. Defeated by skunk smell. And then Vista 3 gives up his plans in order to descent himself or de-stink himself or whatever. And that's the end of the book. Wow. So that's the plot. Let's get into the underlying messages. Firstly, I just wanted to point out something humorous in this book. Add to the list of things that Axe has consumed. Engine oil and dry lint. Man's a machine. Right, underlying message time. What's going on in this book? If it weren't for the underlying message, this book would be pretty rubbish. It really would. The ending was on par with book 3's ending, where it just didn't really make sense. It was something the TV show would have done. Think about it. If you take out the underlying message of this story, it is a TV show episode, which would rank it pretty bloody low. But I came to the conclusion when I was in the last couple of chapters, and I thought, this book isn't about the mission. It's not. The mission is just... It's just a vehicle for the subplot. The vehicle could have been better, yes, and the book's obviously going to drop points for that, but it's making its points in the underlying messages of this book. This book should have been book number 4. I'm genuinely of the opinion, if you took Axe out of this book and plonked this in as number 4 instead of the message, it would have felt normal. Because this is Cassie's development book. For the first time, really, in this series, Cassie finally, thank Christ, gets some development that she deserves. And that is why I enjoyed this book. Cassie is very emotional. And she's very principled. She holds her thoughts close and she gets quite defensive of them. And this first comes to light when they first come back from the log cabin. Or was it before they went in? I think it was after. And she gets into a bit of an argument with Marco, who's saying, oh, why are we bothering with this? We've got bigger battles to face. And Cassie gets incredibly defensive. And I'm talking obnoxiously defensive. She comes across as very self-righteous. And she almost becomes like a Twitter user. You've seen these people on Twitter who, they just become emotional. You put something towards them, a sound argument, and they just yell at you. There's just no logic behind their thinking. They become all emotional, and it's a very self-righteous thing to do. And you notice as well when you're reading this part, when Marco's having a go at her, she starts to look to other people for backup. And she gets angry at them for not backing her up. That is a serious character flaw. That shows that you have no confidence in yourself. You yell a lot, but inside you don't know what you're talking about. She has a point. And I agree very firmly that woodland should not just be torn down. That's animals' homes and all that. So yes, that's a very good point. But she lacks perspective. She lacks the perspective of knowing your battles. Maybe that's why in all the previous books, she's so easily swayed to go along with these stupid plans, like the lab mice thing, like the thing at the circus in book 7 with Rachel. She has no perspective on priority. That's a serious character flaw, but thank Christ she's got one. No longer is she Marty Sue. She is a character. And I am so thankful for that. And even though it was an obnoxious character flaw, and at first I thought, I don't like this, I thought later on, in ways I can relate to this. I think we can all relate to this character flaw. We've all gone into an argument emotionally. We've all gone barraging in without first stepping back and thinking about what we're saying. About thinking logically about the problems we face. We jump in and we're emotional. I've done it. I've done it plenty of times. And I see that in her. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I like you now, Cassie. You're relatable. And that's good. And then we get the whole skunk subline and the termite bit. And this is where the book became great, I think. She knows that these skunk babies are out there, they're defenseless and they're in trouble. And her emotional side comes out. And she puts herself in danger in order to fulfill this purpose that she feels inside of her. Again, that's a character flaw. That's the lack of perspective. Thinking emotionally rather than cold and hard and factual like Jake is having to do. That's the role Jake is taking. Cassie's going in the other direction. Or she has always been in the other direction. Where she will think emotionally before logic. And that can be to her benefit. She sees that. She knows that. Because it's principles that sometimes keep us from becoming like a termite colony. A cold, machine-like entity that does what it has to do without any thoughts. And that's where the termite thing comes in. And that is the real subtle little message that's going on in this book. There was a line from Axe somewhere in this book that really struck me. When they first morphed termite, this line came up from Axe. I feel no instincts. It's like this is just a body, a machine. That scared Cassie. And that's why she had her little meltdown after all this. Because she saw that. She knows that she's emotionally compromised a lot of the time. But she knows that that can be valuable. And she hates the feeling that she can lose that. That she could become like that termite, where she shows no emotion, she has no feeling, she has no control over her own actions. That's why I think this book is very important. She goes to those skunk kits because she wants to hold on to what makes her human. And they have that discussion later on, her and Jake, about what is it about humans that makes us different from the other animals. And it's that they can care. This whole book, I don't know why it's called The Secret, I've just thought. Why is it called The Secret? What secrets were held within this tome? I don't know, whatever. The titles don't really mean anything. This whole book is about losing humanity. And Cassie is the right vehicle for that message. And this is where she really comes out strong here. For all her faults and all her self-righteousness, sometimes you need someone like that just to keep you grounded. And I think that's why the Animorphs played along with her looking after the skunks, because even they recognise that, yeah, this is stupid and we shouldn't be doing this, but there's something to be said about holding on to your humanity and your principles. That is where this book shines. Forget the stupid plot, forget the Yeerk incompetence, forget the daft ending. That's not what this story is about. It's not about the mission. It's about Cassie, and it's about humanity. And I really struggled to rate this book in terms of the book score and Jake's score. Let's just get Jake's score out of the way. Let's sum him up. He doesn't chastise Rachel and Cassie for probably like the millionth time, disobeying him, points against. He separates them, a 0.4, I'd say, because he knows they'll cause trouble. He brings Homer to a mission. That's stupid. He comes up with plans on the dot, and he separates himself from his team. Jake is scoring low in this one, I'm sorry. For the good points he had, and for the good interpersonal leadership skills he showed in this, apart from not chastising Rachel and Cassie, he gets a 4. I'm sorry, it wasn't good. That's Jake's score. The book. It is a mixed bag. But if you're looking at this purely from the series perspective, the storyline doesn't really amount to much. The plot line it's a bit of a throwaway. You've got to take a point or two off for that. But the sponge in this plot cake is once again so delightful. And I don't know whether it's an 8 or a 9, this one. I don't know. It really is hard to say. I'm going to give it an 8. Because I think some of the problems with the plot are so egregious. And the Yeerk incompetence is so egregious. There's lots of egregious stuff in this. And there's so many whatever points. I have to dock an extra point. Yeah, 8 out of 10. But a strong 8 out of 10. This is a strong 8 out of 10. And thank Christ, Cassie is here. She's arrived. This is where she comes into the story now. So thank you very much. Right, so the next book is this one, which is number 10, The Android. And I have been looking forward to this one because from what I remember, this is a quality book. I'm estimating a 9 or a 10 for this one. And then, of course, the Animorphs graphic novel. This is a wonderful addition to my Animorphs collection, and so it should be to yours as well. Made by Chris Grine, obviously Applegate and Grant as well, but Chris Grine did the adaptation. It's a stunning addition to your collection, and I highly suggest you go do that. Tonight, on the Animorphs Discord, we will be having an Ani-meet, which we tend to do most Saturdays these days. We just find an activity, or we just talk on Saturdays at 9 PM GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, because I am British after all. And we go on the Discord and we have a good chat. There's usually somewhere between 8 or 10 of us join in, and we have a blast. Not too recently, we watched the whole Animorphs TV series. You can only really do it with other people. But yeah, come join us on the Animorphs Discord. There's a link below. Go read my fan fiction, which is Animorphs New War. I'm quite a few books into that now. And follow me on Twitter at ThomasHeap91. Thank you very much for watching this integral book. I'm so happy that we finally have our 6th Animorph on the train tracks to whatever it is we're doing. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again soon for the next review. Goodbye.